Isolation is the key to self-discovery. Before I get into the story that's related to this video, join the school community, the Growth Method Hub. It's about self-growth and self-mastery. I think it will really benefit your life. In my freshman year of high school, I started the journey of self-growth. In school, I was more of in the middle of being quiet and more outgoing. I was just kind of like that reactionary kind of student. You know, that student that just like, he's kind of funny when the conversation's kind of be led by someone else. I was that kind of kid. When I started my self-improvement when I was in my freshman year, I kind of cut out everything in my life. I cut out all bad habits, and I cut off, most importantly, the people in my life. I stopped talking. People said I became more nonchalant. People said I started like not caring enough about things. And that was only because I was watching all these YouTube videos and I was thinking that I had to be alone to really grow. So, like I said, I cut off everything and I started my self-growth journey. I was waking up an hour before school. I was doing my meditation, I was journaling, cold shower. At the time, I started going to the gym, and I was doing all these self-improvement habits. Like I would go outside after school, I would sit in the sun while reading. I would do all these habits, but I was 100% by myself and alone at the time. What I kind of learned from this kind of point of isolation in my life was the isolation will break you. The feeling of being by yourself 24/7 and the feeling of just knowing that no one's just messaging your phone, it will break you. It will tear you down and it will make you feel less of a person and less of who you are. But what really is important about the isolation breaking you is you find yourself within the isolation. You will never not have someone because you have yourself. When the isolation is kind of tearing you down and wearing you down, it's the only way to find yourself. Because you can't find yourself when you're out in the world and just in such a social setting, when you're just being the life of something, life of the party, being the class clown. Those people are going to be late to finding themselves because they don't want to be in that point of isolation. Being in isolation will help you discover yourself. Escaping social pressure, putting on this fake mask in public will be revealed to yourself when you're in isolation. You won't have that fake persona when you're by yourself. You actually have to sit in who you are, and that's some people are scared of that. It's a scary thing to have to sit in your own thought and having to sit in the idea that you're not going to be the person that you thought you were from the social setting that you were in. In the social setting, you might have thought you were real funny. You thought you were just so loud and outgoing, but when you sit in your thoughts, you're more quiet. You don't have anything to say to yourself. Escaping social pressure kind of lifts that weight off your shoulder, and you start respecting being by yourself more. You start respecting the fact that being by yourself is a good thing, and it's not just like people think it's like you have to be depressed when you're isolated by yourself, but that's not what isolation is. Isolation is just taking time for you instead of taking time for others. When you go out into the world and you're social, that's taking time for other people, but no one really takes time for themselves anymore. And isolation is just escaping social pressure to have time for you. You always have someone because you have yourself. People love to find love in other things. People love picking things in their life to love outside of themselves, whether that's drugs, whether that's people, whether that's money. No one really finds love in themselves anymore. You can't 99% of who you are is internal. Only 1% of who you are is actually an external thing. So if you're finding that 1% of love in something that's outside of yourself, why not the 99% just be the love for yourself? If you love yourself, then that could be someone you have. You never don't have anyone because you have yourself. How do you actually implement being isolated to find yourself? Don't cut everyone off. When the mistake that I made when I was kind of isolating myself to find myself, I was going to cut everyone off. I stopped all communication. Yes, I went to school, but I was more quiet. I didn't really respond to people. I was going extreme, really extreme with it. Don't cut everyone off. A lot of people misunderstand that with self-growth and self-improvement that you want to level up one specific field. The field of being conversational and communicating with others, that's a skill. That's a skill that you also need to level up in your life. Don't take away one of the basic human necessities of communication away just so you can improve in smaller fields. Keep the growth with communication in your life. Don't cut everyone off. Just take more time for yourself. Sit inside of your thoughts. Now, this is probably one of the biggest things that helped me, but it was also one of the hardest things. Sitting in your thoughts is one of the hardest things someone can do. Just being able to sit down in a room with no distractions and just think about things. It's extremely eye-opening because you start asking yourself, this is the biggest question you have to ask yourself in all aspects of your life. Why? Always ask yourself why. Because when you're sitting in your thoughts and you're asking yourself why, you go deeper and deeper and deeper into the things that you have in your mind, the things that you think about. Let's say, for me specifically, I always ask myself, why do I speak this way? I always had a lower tone voice. I didn't like raising my voice at all. And people always told me to speak up, or they were like, huh? They never understood what I was saying. So I sat down and I asked myself, why do I speak this way? Well, maybe when I was growing up, I didn't have a voice to be heard. I had a lot of people speaking over me when I was trying to talk, or people were talking at me, not with me. So I was like, okay, what can I do to improve that? Well, I could read a book on communications. I could start talking to people more. I could try being cognitive of the thought that I need to raise my voice more. I could start speaking to more people. And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let me try doing that. Boom. That's already something that you've improved just by asking yourself why you do things. The second biggest thing I learned from the isolation is you don't need to have social media. And when I say social media, I mean all types of social media. I mean Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. The only thing I had was YouTube. I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, but I don't even recommend that either. Not having social media is one of the most healthiest things that I did for my life. I wasn't expecting anything to happen. I wasn't looking for validation from other people. I was just living the life that I wanted to live. Getting away from social media is a hard thing to do. It is very hard. But you kind of get rid of that validation that you need from others. And I was talking about it earlier in this video about if you always have someone because you have yourself. When you turn off social media, you kind of have to force yourself to only have yourself. If you're isolated, you're not going to be talking to a lot of people because you're trying to find yourself. So if you turn off social media as well, now you definitely only have yourself. So turning off social media was definitely a big part of being able to find myself, because I wasn't getting validation from others, and I wasn't like, my thoughts and my beliefs weren't changing because of the things I saw while I was scrolling. If you implement all three of those habits, so if we go back, isolation will break you, understanding that you'll escape social pressure and you'll start acting like your true self. You'll always have someone because you have yourself. Don't cut everyone off. Learn to sit inside your thoughts and just try to turn off social media. Those things will help you when you're in your period of isolation and you're trying to find yourself. Link in the description, school community. I talk about self-growth, self-mastery. Definitely benefit you in your life. I go deeper into the topics like these.